Ythes o Hwy, o Miras Orth, Canol Cerno.
Coming up in this week's show, we join Pat Harvey, Chairman of Cornwall Council, for the first part of the series Inside Cornwall Council. We sample some of the culinary excellence cooked up by AWC training chefs at the Foy Hotel. Rob Noxious and Butts go to the Blue Anchor in Helston, and we listen to Craig's Music Video of the Week. We join Rob down in Porthleven to hear what the locals have to say on second homes. But first we go to County Hall to see the chairman, Pat Harvey, at work.
In the first part of our Inside Cornwall Council programme, we follow Chairman Pat Harvey to see what a typical day is like as our council's chairman. My first question for Pat was, why would you get involved in politics in the first place?
Well, I was brought up on it really. My father was always involved in politics, and he taught me quite a lot, and I became very, very interested, and I've really been involved in politics all my life until I became an independent. And now I don't get involved in politics at all. I actually use the independence to do what I can for the people of Cornwall. There are lots of things that I have to do. But today, for example, we've got some people coming from India, some teachers who are on exchange visit with our teachers at St Columb Minor. We've then got a citizenship ceremony which brings people, we've got 16 today, who are becoming British citizens, and they come from all over the world. And then we've got an exercise going on in the bunker downstairs with regard to the possibility of heavy rainfall over the next few days. And then I've got a number of other things which are coming up. I go out in December every day, and I go around with mince pies and clotted cream and juice to all our staff throughout Cornwall, to all the offices, to say thank you for the work they do. And it is donated and sponsored by Hank, who runs the restaurant at Kingsley Village. And they have done that for the last 3 years, and of course this year will be my last year because I will cease being chairman in May. Well, thank you very much for coming in today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Yes, and I think you're going to have another look around at one or two places. Yes. So thank you for coming. And thank you, Sarah.
No, it's very great. Thank you very much.
And I hope you've enjoyed your stay over in England.
Yes,
and we hope to meet again.
It's a very beautiful place.
Thank you. I've had a brilliant time. It's been a great privilege to do what I do and to meet the people what I do. And I will have memories which will take me for the rest of my life. You couldn't ask for a better job. You'll meet people from all walks of life, right across the spectrum, people from all over the world. And I've been invited back to a number of the places which I've gone and which I've paid for myself. It hasn't come out of any Cornwall budget. And I'm quite happy to do that because I have been invited and I do go back as chairman. So yes, fantastic people across the world coming into County Hall and local people coming in. We've had all sorts of organisations that come in and have a look around, and we have a light lunch, and they go and they realise that in fact when you come inside the doors of Cornwall Council, it's not like what you see outside. It is a very, very busy place, and I think they do an incredible job. To become a unitary authority was not an easy thing to do, and it's going to take a number of years to actually settle down.
As citizens of the United Kingdom, and in particular of Cornwall, Cornwall is itself an ancient kingdom. Well, basically I sort of support our Lord Lieutenant Edward Bolitho and help out with citizenship ceremonies. We do a lot of research if somebody's nominated for a national award, MBE, OBE, and help out. I mean, I was last Sunday at Remembrance Sunday laying a wreath at Camborne and taking part in representing the Lord Lieutenant at the Remembrance service at Camborne.
And I know Pat's standing right next to you, but what would you say about her role? Has she got an easy role being the chairman?
I think it's a very difficult role. Pat, I think has been a great chairman over it'll be nearly 4 years soon, won't it? And I've worked with both chairmen, some of whose names are on the wall there, and with the political leaders. But the chairman is the ceremonial head and the welcoming arm of Cornwall Council. And Pat, I think, has done that extremely well and kept out of the politics, which is great.
As chairman of Cornwall Council, it's a great pleasure and a privilege to welcome you to County Hall today.
In most offices, the average working day is 9 till 5. I asked Pat what her longest day has been to date.
My longest day has been 17 and a half hours in one day. That's from when I leave home in the morning to when I get back at night. And that could involve 3 or 4 places I have to go to during the day. And they could be across Cornwall. They don't have to be in the same place. And I'd go to a lot of dinners which to represent Cornwall Council. I've had the privilege of meeting all the royalty, because as chairman of Cornwall Council, we have to attend their first visit when they come into the county. The first place they go, the chairman of Cornwall Council goes and welcomes them. Of course, the Lord Lieutenant does that first, and then the High Sheriff, and then the chairman of Cornwall Council actually is the first one on behalf of the people of Cornwall to welcome any royalty that's here. I'm a great privilege to be able to do that. Why is it that you want to become a British citizen? Because we're very welcome and we're delighted to have you.
Well, I'm thrilled. I've been waiting for this day for a long time, been counting down. My husband is British, and it's the very earliest I could be a British citizen, and I like the sense of connection to him, as well as my interest in politics. I'd like to be able to vote here, and so with my indefinite leave to remain, I could stay, but I couldn't vote, so I'm looking forward to that change.
Oh, that would be fantastic. So you're in the right place today to be part of politics.
I think so.
We have heard that underneath County Hall in Truro is a bunker that all the councillors and VIPs would go if there was ever an emergency situation here in Cornwall. Today we follow Pat down to the bunker to find out exactly what it is used for and who can go in.
Engage in a conference call shortly. About 25 minutes time. Gold conference call for the flooding. So let's get ourselves a bit organised for that now.
I thought what we'd do, guys.
It isn't big enough, and secondly, it is there for the people who actually are all involved with emergencies. They are now looking at the weather coming in this weekend as to how they might have to deal with any floods. And they're all people with experience, from the environment to the police, the fire brigade, the ambulance people, the people from all different sectors who actually know how to deal and are experienced in how to deal with emergencies, and they are on call. And I think you'll see from the bunker that all the telephones that are lined up and where people have to sit, and in fact there would be no room whatsoever for any members or officers to go down there. It is purely a business place to deal with emergencies in Cornwall.
Bear in mind that totally in Cornwall we've got 45,000 properties susceptible to flooding. So that's a lot of properties. Now that covers the river flooding, surface water and the coastal flooding. There's 5,000 properties susceptible to coastal flooding. So 12,000 from surface water. That's right, 12,000 from surface water. So we're very exposed. So hence those diagrams are really, really important.
So long days for you coming up.
It could very well be. But the fortunate thing about it is we're in a better position than we used to be back in, you remember, in 2010 where we weren't as well prepared. These days now, every one of the communities which we've established has got a problem. We actually have a risk plan now, which basically has all the information we need, all the various plans, and where we have to take people to should there be a problem, all the roads identified. We're in a better position than we've ever been in. And now, because we've got this scheme where we actually do clean things in advance of what we see here.
Because it's not just doing what's happening this weekend, which is very important. You actually did the ship the other day with the oil, which was a long, drawn-out affair. You do all the other emergency things, because one of the things which I am really delighted with, obviously, is the amount of, I shouldn't say this, the amount of hard work that you do and the long hours you work when we do have an emergency, because it isn't just the weather. And one of the things which has cropped up, which does annoy me a little bit, is someone says, oh yes, they've got a bunker and it's all for the officers and the councillors to go down there. Well, I'd like them to see, A, how hard you work and how you've probably got a weekend ahead of you working all the time, and that could happen, it could continue, but also the facilities here for all the organisations that come in and actually fill this place. Because there wouldn't be room for councillors or officers other than the people that come in, and it's a working emergency environment.
We have to throw people out.
You do.
Bring up that photograph. Yeah, if you'd like to see a picture of it, I've got a picture.
We will be following Pat Harvey over the next few months to keep getting an inside view as to what it's like inside Cornwall Council as the chairman.
Here in Cornwall, Dave and I like nothing more but our food. We've been invited down to the Foy Hotel in Foy to see what's cooking.
Hi, I'm Dave Coon from the Foy Hotel, and today I'm going to be cooking pan-fried scallops with hog's pudding, sleric coulis, cream leeks and some Japanese salad on top. And I am now doing my college course with AWC Level 2 in Professional Cookery. Well, I'm going to get the pan hot. I'm going to place the scallops in the oil tray and season well. Pinch of salt. Flip that over. Oh, you've always got to wash your hands after you touch scallops in there.
Oh yes.
Get another pan off for the hooks pudding. I'm now going to place the scallops into the pan. There we go, the hooks pudding. Then again, season well. We place in the pan. While that's cooking, I'm going to get a pound of cream with my seasoning for my cream leeks, okay? I season well. Scallops are ready to flip. Nice colour to them. Get what's ready. I'm now going to place my leeks into the steamer. Place that on the grill to keep it hot. Right, scallops are ready to now put on the grill as well. And you can see they've got a lovely colour.
How long were they on for?
They're literally about 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
I'll give it a We'll get a bit of sleric coulis into a pan. Another nice bit of sauce.
What's that?
Sleric coulis. Pinch of water so you don't fire a bit. Now we're going to get the leeks out and place it into the cream. I'm mixing well. Yeah. plate up. I'm going to use one of these plates.
There's nothing left in it, isn't it? So what's that?
This is Slurek coulis.
Okay.
Now I'm going to place the leeks in the middle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the hog's pudding and the scallops on the top of the leeks. First we'll go with the hog's pudding. Now I'm going to place the scallops on top of the hog's pudding. You see, got a lovely colour to them. Now I'm going to put a little bit of sun leaves on the top.
Okay.
A little bit of house dressing. And there you have pan-seared scallops with cream leeks, pan-fried hog's pudding, Slurek coulis and a bit of Japanese salad on the top.
Boy, Shane, have a look at this.
My name's Natalie, I'm the Senior Duty Manager at the Foy Hotel. I organise the training for the staff, and last February we organised training with AWC for the restaurant staff, kitchen staff, receptionists, bar staff and housekeeping. We had roughly 20 people doing the NVQs and most of them have finished now, and AWC have been great support for them all.
Running around. Can we film here again next week?
FAC Property Countdown. Number 32.
Penwinnick Road, St Austell, 289 950. 2. Lamb Park, Par, an impressive detached home, extensively refurbished with 5 or 6 double bedrooms.
Flat 8.
Roundhouse, Bodmin, a newly renovated 1-bedroom flat close to the town centre of Bodmin.
facdirect.co.uk. Want to start grooving? We'll get you moving.
Enjoy a magical Christmas shopping experience at Kingsley Village, Fradden. With gift ideas for the whole family plus a delicious selection of meats and vegetables from our food hall. Available now, a wide selection of Christmas hampers packed with everything you could need this Christmas. This makes the perfect gift for everyone with hampers ranging in size and price. Kingsley Village, the unique shopping destination this Christmas.
AWC Training, a local training provider specialising in NVQ in all hospitality and business administration, with fully funded courses available. AWC also offer one-day courses for first aid at work, personal licence and paediatric first aid. We're dedicated to helping you for all your training needs.
Blue Anchor Inn in Helston, the legendary Blue Anchor Inn in Helston, and I have with me one of its habitués, Mr. Dave Sugarbeat, the legendary Cobra Delta bluesman, who's going to be taking us on a tour of the Blue Anchor.
Now, a lot of people don't realise is that the beer is actually brewed here on the premises, and it's called Spingo, and it's been being done for an awful long time. As have you been doing it for a long time.
Yes, I got here about 11 o'clock this morning.
Very briefly, how it all works. Where does it start?
Okay, well, when I first come in, the copper here, which is this white thing, although it is actually lined with copper, is full of boiling water, which has come from our own well.
Okay.
Okay. The well's located at the bottom of the steps there, and I put 25 bucketfuls of boiling water in there, some cold water, and then malted barley is added.
And malted barley is what exactly?
It's barley that's been malted.
Sorry,
but that's no other description. Malted barley is added to that hot water, and it's stirred with this lovely device, which is a brewer's paddle. It's not unique to the Blue Anchor. If you go to old breweries, either in this country or on the continent, you'll be able to see similar versions of this device. Anyway, the barley's all stirred with that. We set the temperature out at 68 degrees. Then it's covered and left to stand for an hour and a quarter.
And what does that actually...
Okay, during that hour and a quarter, the hot water will release enzymes from the barley, which in turn reacts with the starches in the barley to produce fermentable sugars, which is what we're after. So from the barley we will get the fermentable sugar, we'll get the colour of the beer, and we'll get the body of the beer.
Right.
Okay, now our beer is not diluted down with sugar at the end of the day, so all the body and flavour of the beer that you taste at the end of the day when you have your pint in the bar all comes from the barley. The beer goes in the top tray, flows out of this tap over the outside of the cone and collects in the bottom tray. Okay, now the water from the mains flows from bottom to top. And the beer flows top to bottom. If they flow in the same, if the water went in the same direction, it wouldn't really sort of cool the beer all that much, because it would warm it up again as it got about halfway, and it would start to warm it up. So the water has to go in the opposite direction.
Right. So why does it have to be cooled to that temperature?
Okay, right. So this will bring the temperature down to about 20 degrees centigrade.
Okay.
From there, it will go into the tank in the corner. Okay, and that's where the yeast is added. Okay, and the nitty gritty of it is you have to bring the temperature down to 20 degrees, because if it's too hot, it'll kill the yeast.
Now, of course, once it's all done its business in there and it's put down and it eventually gets put into the barrels.
Yeah, there's 6 fermenting tanks downstairs.
Right, okay. And they stay for how long in those fermenting tanks?
It ferments down there, on average, it ferments for about a week, and then it's put into casks. It's in cask for another couple of weeks. The stronger beers are in cask for a bit longer, and then you can drink it.
And then it's just, basically, it's just for the consumption of our beautiful dear Blue Anchor, is it not?
It is not. It is, over the last 2 years, it has now started to go a bit more further afield, and is now going a bit more Cornwall wide.
Okay. Years and years ago, when I used to do the racking off, which was putting the beer into the barrels downstairs, in the winter we'd brew sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, but in the summer it was 7 times a week, every day, and that was about 7.5, about 130 gallons a time.
Around about 130, 135 gallons, or 615 litres.
So it's good business. Good business for the pub,
Yeah.
having your own brewery.
Oh yes.
And it's worldwide famous.
There we are. Spingo.
Spingo. And as friends of mine in Oregon say, 600-year-old suds.
We are now in the fantastic Skittle Alley in the bowels of the Blue Anchor, where the Spingo Rock events take place, including the best of them all every year, Helstonbury, a 3-day festival in the Blue Anchor, around the same time as Glastonbury. And this man, Paul Turton, created it.
Well, he was. Yeah, Rob, he's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek mimic of Glastonbury. Obviously, I've done Glastonbury a few times in the past, and it all started basically from. Well, it was a fundraiser for my stepdaughter Lizzie. She was in desperate need of an electric wheelchair. She got a rare nervous disease called CMT, and she was getting to the age of about 12 or 13, and she needed an electric wheelchair. Now, I've been playing in bands anyway with Bobby's Elm, as you know, and the Bone Shaking Babies, not to give them a mention, lest they'll be telling me off. And I just called upon a few friends, a few people that I knew, and we just organised a one-day charity event. We called in a couple of friends, Spling Splang, local musicians I've known through the Navy. So we organised it. The Blue Anchor sponsored the event. They organised a raffle. Helston Town donated prizes, etc.
Oh, good one.
We had a massive past that was made like this, etc. It's all good fun. I've only charged 50p on the door.
Those were the days.
Yeah, those were good old days. we had, that was back to the basics.
You got to a 3-day event now. It was 2000, wasn't it? The first year when you started.
It was. Well, the fundraiser for Lizzie was 2001.
Oh right,
it was 2001. That was when we first did it, and so then we thought that's a great idea.
Oh right.
Why don't we do it again? And we did it again for local causes, and as the years went by, the more bands got involved. We raised more money. And it just went from there really. And each year, you try and make it better.
Yes. It's one of the cracking days of the social calendar in the music world down here in West Cornwall. And I'm just thinking back to, great bands here, cover bands like not the Beatles. And I see on the backdrop here there's East of Ealing that they've played. And you had, I think Alvin Sawdust played this last year.
Alvin Sawdust, he's the legendary Alvin Sawdust. He's the only person I know who comes down the Blue Anchor's taller than me.
That's right.
Last year we had a bit of a problem with the crowds because of the popularity of the event.
Oh yeah.
This used to be the main stage, and you can imagine trying to cram 500 or 600 people into it.
Yeah.
It was a bit difficult.
Moshing could be dangerous.
It was. The mosh pit was lethal. Another aspect of Helston is obviously the Friday night, which is the kids' night.
That's right. Yes. Yep.
He does a lot of work mentoring the children, the youngsters with teaching them guitars, and he's a massive support of young musicians in Helston, and he runs a Friday night, and we have that. So we have that kids like to rock night on a Friday, and it's great because the parents can come down and see their kids playing the guitar, and so
start them early.
Well,
learn them young.
We've been doing this for now 5 or 6 years now, and a lot of the youngsters that was that high, and now that high, and playing in bands.
Fantastic.
And ended up in One Direction.
Yeah, fantastic. Paul, thinking about Helstonbury for next year.
Yeah.
Could you tell us about the lineup?
Well, I invited Page and Plant, but they're a little bit busy. Clapton's on a tour. Iron Maiden,
divas.
They're getting a bit old now.
Yeah.
The beautiful thing about Helstonbury is it's like a copy and paste job.
Yeah.
A lot of the bands like to come back. They love it.
Yeah.
It's a great, as you know, it's a great atmosphere.
Oh, yeah.
It's a unique atmosphere. And so a lot of it's sorted. But there's the odd band that can't make it for whatever reason, and it's nice to get something different. I like to change it as best as I can.
Yeah.
But we have we have the main stage, acoustic. There's always up and coming talent on the acoustic stage as well. And
Paul, for the folk on the Cornwall Channel who may not know about when Helstonbury is.
Well, Helstonbury is always the third weekend in July.
Right.
Okay.
It's set in stone now. We changed it once. We pushed it right once. It sort of conflicts with school holidays, etc.
Right,
So
yeah.
people 3 week in July. I think it's in the diary now with the Sounds Florida Day in Helston now. I think there's 2 events that happen, and I think which is it's quite humbling actually to think that a little event like that has escalated to where it is now. And you know, it's
a wonderful event, and one that me and my friends really look forward to. And hats off to you and the people who've supported you along the way for bringing it to us. And we wouldn't be without it.
Well, it's great, and it's I'm very proud of the event, but it's not a one-man team. Obviously, we've got the Blue Anchor.
Yeah.
You know, they and the staff, they all support the event. Simon and Kim.
Yeah.
You know, we pull together, we make it happen, and then
absolutely.
And that Monday morning, I wake up with that sort of happy feeling that you know, it was probably like Sebastian Coe felt after the Olympics, but obviously not as big as that. but I can imagine how he felt.
Yeah. But not when Steve Ovett beat him.
Oh no. I imagine.
Yeah. Fantastic stuff. Thanks so much, Paul, and very much look forward to spending time with you at Helstonbury next year.
No worries.
Star stuff, thank you.
And you know why I survived Helstonbury weekend?
How's that?
That's perfect.
It all helps.
Rock and roll.
You can breathe out now, Paul.
Good one.
Welcome back to the Blue Anchor, and I'm delighted to bring you the musical odds and sods man of the Blue Anchor, Mr. Sonny Ransom. Thank you, Sonny, for joining us here.
My pleasure.
Fantastic. And you've been helping out all the bands set up and get it all together, ready for all the different gigs that are going on here at the Blue.
Yeah, if anything needs doing, they give me a shout. Or if nothing's been already coordinated properly, then I go off if there's technical problem, they need something extra going on, or if anybody's busy, I'll basically fill in and make sure that everything's the way it should be done.
That's
and that everything's going well and that we've got everything we need.
And there's regular gigs. I'm just looking at the timetable there. There's about three gigs a week, aren't there? And, fantastic.
Between March and December, we've got at least 2 to 3 groups a week.
Yeah.
So, and that's including a Thursday night old school jam session.
That's right. That's like a blues session, isn't it?
Blues, country, folk. It varies from week to week, but it's quite popular most weeks.
Yeah. Do you play on that one yourself?
No, I'm not
You're too
quite,
young.
Not quite talented as these guys. They're hardcore, very hardcore.
Yeah.
Some of the talent there is just absolutely out of this world.
Fantastic.
The great thing about this place is it's a melting pot.
Yeah.
Which means you'll have punks and hippies and accountants, dentists, all types of people from all types of backgrounds, all getting on. It's very rare we have problems or troubles in the pub. Therefore, we have quite a diverse interest in music from different people. So we do cater for lots of different styles and genres for everybody. So there's always something for different people.
And you know, the dentists, I hear they quite like that root stuff.
Dentists like the root. Wow.
There's a new beer being launched.
Yes, absolutely. We got the new beer Mary Berry. It's coming out for Christmas. It's the release date's on the 8th of December.
Excellent.
And we've got High Voltage coming in to help support that.
They're a Cornish band, aren't they? High Voltage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mark came from Mullion of the Lizardware, I think. He's one of the guitarists.
So there should be a few sparks flying that night then.
Yeah, it should be.
It's got to be done, isn't it?
I don't know how you do it, Rob.
We've got a drum kit.
Sorry.
Are you going to put that in? Are you going to put the sound effect in?
I can do that. I can change his hair and everything.
Oh, please. Change the guts as well.
Yeah, I can. I'll make it all thin.
Make it bigger. Okay.
All right, mate.
Sonny, thanks so much for coming and sharing your work here as Odds and Sods man at the Blue Anchor.
My pleasure.
AWC Training, a local training provider specialising in NVQ in all hospitality and business administration, with fully funded courses available. AWC also offer one-day courses for first aid at work, personal licence and paediatric first aid. We're dedicated to helping you for all your training needs.
Enjoy a magical Christmas shopping experience at Kingsley Village, Fradden. With gift ideas for the whole family plus a delicious selection of meats and vegetables from our food hall. Available now, a wide selection of Christmas hampers packed with everything you could need this Christmas. This makes the perfect gift for everyone, with hampers ranging in size and price. Kingsley Village, the unique shopping destination this Christmas.
The FAC Property Countdown. Number 32.
Penwinnick Road, St Austell, 289 950. 2. Lamb Park, Par, an impressive detached home, extensively refurbished with 5 or 6 double bedrooms.
Flat 8.
The Roundhouse, Bodmin, a newly renovated 1-bedroom flat close to the town centre of Bodmin.
facdirect.co.uk. Want to start grooving? We'll get you moving.
Greetings, Groovers. I'm at the Bickford Smith Institute in Porthleven with the Lord Mayor of Porthleven, Mr. Mark Berriman. Thank you very much, Mark, for having us, the Cornwall Channel, here.
Thank you, Rob. Good to see you.
Thank you. And I wondered, Mark, if you'd like to kick off proceedings by telling us a little bit about the history of Porthleven.
History of Porthleven, yeah, sure. Porthleven was almost a Victorian invention. For hundreds of years, there were little fishermen's cottages here, and this was just a very simple cove. Then, in the early 19th century, the harbour was built to facilitate exports of tin, copper and china clay, which was actually discovered just outside the village for the first place in Britain. So between 1811 and 1825, I think the harbour was built. There was a massive building boom here. That tailed off around 1870, so the village was still relying on its fishing, went into a slight decline, and then post-war you have a boom with Coldrose. So that's the history. It's reinvented itself 2 or 3 times.
Thinking about military pursuits, we have Guy Gibson.
We do. Guy is one of our more famous sons from Porthleven. His mother was from a well-known local family. His parents married in Porthleven, and Guy spent most of his childhood here, all his school holidays, and in fact his final holiday before the Dambusters he spent here, and sadly his final leave before he was killed over the Netherlands. So yeah, a local hero we're very proud of and pleased to commemorate.
And a street named after Guy Gibson.
We have a street named after Guy. We have a memorial plaque on this building, and there's a memorial in the churchyard. So yeah, something we're very proud of.
Mark, I'm just thinking about more up-to-date developments in Porthleven, and obviously the traditional sources of industry have changed from fishing, and,
sure.
and quite a large tourism industry now in Porthleven.
We do have a tourist industry in Porthleven. It's a vital part of the economy, as our second homes. You can't get away from that. What I think separates us from other small Cornish seaside towns is that we're still a working town. We're not purely dependent on tourism. So that tourists are very welcome, but when they're walking around, they will see working boats, they will see fish being landed, they'll see lobster fishermen, they'll see crab fishermen, and that gives us, I think, an edge. We're a mixed town. We're not enthralled to the tourist dollar. That we welcome them; they're a vital part of our economy. But luckily, they aren't the be-all and end-all.
Absolutely, and looking forward to spending time amongst good Porthleven folk later this afternoon.
There's a lot. Everybody always says that, there aren't the characters that there were. Well, believe me, if you, as I think you'll discover this afternoon, they're still there, and they'll be there in 30 years. There'll always be characters, and we seem to have our fair share, shall we say? Yeah, and long may they reign.
Indeed. I think I remember when I first came to Porthleven, I saw a T-shirt saying "Porthleven, a quaint drinking village with a fishing problem."
Indeed, and I have one of those myself, which gets an airing every so often. But yeah, it's a great place to live.
What about the young people? What have they got, apart from the surfing, obviously?
Well, the surfing, they'll be out there now. It doesn't matter. They'll surf all year round. And the young people, of course, are a problem, and young families are a problem. Housing is not cheap in Cornwall. Housing in a coastal village is not cheap. Housing with a sea view is not cheap. The difficulty is keeping young families in the village, and it's something we're all aware of. We don't want to become a retirement home. We have to have working families to keep the schools going, to keep the restaurants, the shops, the medical facilities going. And sadly, a lot of young families cannot afford houses. So we've been lucky. We've had some social housing built. I think the last development, I checked the figures yesterday, I think was 26 houses to rent. There were over 350 applicants for them, and all of those fulfil what they call local needs. In other words, they had very strong local connections. There are plans, I believe, for more social housing, and it's needed. It's desperately needed to keep the village alive, because without young people and young families, there is nothing. So we have to have them. Absolutely.
How do you think the balance is at the moment with second home ownership and provision for
second home ownership? I think it is a mixed bag. I mean, I have no time for those who just turn up 2 weeks a year, buy their groceries and Waitrose in Surrey, and then don't mix. No time for them at all. Other second home owners I know are a vital part of the community. That they're welcomed. They'll take part in every single event. That they give employment, they rent the house out for 30-40 weeks a year, they bring in good money. They're as much a part of the community as people that live here all the time. And to them, they truly is a second home. It's not somewhere for 2 weeks and lock up and go.
Thank you very much, Mark, for telling us about Porthleven, its history and its characters.
You're welcome.
I'm looking forward to seeing a few of them pretty shortly, Buzz. And look forward to seeing you again around town and wishing you well with your mayoralty.
Do you want to say that again, Rob?
Is that what you call it? A mayoralty?
Is it a mayoralty?
Well, morality.
A morality!
Morality. See, it's quite difficult, that one, because you sort of say, oh, it's a morality, but no, it's a mayoralty, Rob. Good luck. And just be gentle with the local characters, that's all I can say.
Oh, but they'll be gentle with me, Mark.
See, if you'd only stay in the village, Rob, you'd have been one yourself.
Hey.
Got you, mate.
Yeah.
Right, let me see me.
There you go.
How's that? Oh, I'm moving.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a movie camera.
Mine don't move.
You're big fans of Porthleven and the ship. What makes it so fine?
Very good local atmosphere, I feel. Very good local atmosphere.
Bit of a community?
Community pub. Yeah. Very much a community pub, yeah. Fishermen, the builders, everybody comes in here.
A few characters, I understand.
Indeed so, yes. Well, like yourself.
Well, I'm just a humble community DJ, Andy.
Indeed.
That's not what we heard.
Now, Ian, you came to Porthleven and you fell in love with it.
Yeah, I actually did. And I have a theory about Porthleven.
Go on.
Well, there's lots of lovely places in Cornwall, which are harbours, right?
Yeah.
But they've gone a bit pear-shaped because they're all touristy.
Yeah.
They're a bit smaller. If you go down the Lizard, wonderful harbour. I won't say any names, but
whereabouts?
Yeah, down the Lizard.
Yeah.
Or in other areas.
Yeah.
On the other northwest coast. But they're a bit dead because they've been taken over by the dreaded holiday lets, haven't they? But here, you do have that. Actually, it gives an income. That's why there's 18 restaurants in Porthleven.
18?
18, yeah. It was 19, but the curry shop went pear-shaped.
Right.
But what you do have is a lovely and large portion of social housing.
Yeah.
So it's always breathing life. The village, you could live here for weeks and not have to actually leave because you can be supported by a supermarket, post office, laundrettes, restaurants, the delis, and unless you need to buy a sofa, you don't have to leave. And now you can buy a sofa online anyway, so some of us have been here forever.
Porthleven is almost self-sufficient here.
Well, it is if you're an alcoholic, certainly, yeah.
On mine.
All right.
Not on his.
Okay. Oh, should I start it rolling, Buzz?
I just like the locals taking your photos.
Yeah, have you got it on?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Okay. I'm with Mr. Jeremy Hoskin, a fisherman from Porthleven, whose family have been fishing from Porthleven for many a year. Jeremy, thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
And you've been out in weather like this before?
Oh, the weather today isn't that good.
Yeah.
But for a fisherman, the rain doesn't stop him. It's the wind is the one we got to watch.
Yeah.
And at the moment, the wind isn't actually too bad, although it's not particularly nice. But for the hardened sailor, obviously I'm not a hardened sailor because I'm stood here today.
Yeah. And your whole family have been involved in fishing.
Yeah,
from
I am what potentially could be described as one of the last of the hunters. But my family have been fishing for 4 generations from Portleven, Portleven fishermen, and we know quite a bit about the industry and what goes on in this part of the world. At this present moment in time, I'm fishing for lobsters and crabs out here in the bay. And we've, during our fishing careers, we've fished for all sorts of fish that swim past the Cornish coast. We've had it from time to time. Had a go at trying to catch.
Any megrim?
Megrim sole. My father was a trawlerman, and he's caught a lot of megrim sole. And I have big fond memories of big fishing days and him coming home from sea at the weekends when we were kids, bringing home megrim sole to eat for Saturday lunch.
Portleven was the first place I had megrim. That's how I remember that one.
They called it the Cornish sole, but it is the megrim sole. It is a beautiful fish to eat.
Excellent.
Well, most of our fishing that we do now is what we call inshore fishing. We fish right in tight to the shore at certain times of the year. But we fish right out to 6 to 8 to 10 miles off, depending on fish stocks and what's available for us at the time. But we're geared up around the shellfish now, which Portleven has a long history in shellfish. And we catch lobsters, which I love. I love catching, never tire of catching lobsters. And then crab fishing, which is probably for us is our main staple part of our fishing, if you like. And we fish for those mainly through the summer months right up to Christmas. And we supply the local merchants and the processors who are selling all over Europe. A lot of the rules that have come down to the industry have been have basically been to reduce it all the time. Now there has been a period during time where fish have been exploited to their maximum, but there are a lot of rules in place today which allow the fish stocks to increase, and we're seeing that all the time now with fish stocks. But we're very, very highly restricted on our quotas now, how much we can catch. So that in turn creates its own problems when in fact you end up with more fish on the boat that you can keep, and then you have to let it go, and a lot of it when it's dead is wasted. We as fishermen, we're struggling with that because our whole business is about catching fish, not about throwing it away.
Absolutely.
And yet the rules have created that. So that in its sense is a difficult one, but the industry, to all intents and purposes, is producing a most incredible food source. Fish is reckoned to be one of the best things that you can eat for your heart, for your brain, for the whole of your body.
I want it now.
Portleven's history, this was a very, very important fishing port. At the turn of the 19th century, Portleven was home to nearly 200 fishing vessels. And all the community was caught up with fishing. Everything, all the businesses, everything was geared up to catching fish. And you look today and you see 4 or 5 boats that are actually operating from Portleven, and when you consider overfishing and you add 200 back to 4 or 5, it does sometimes it sort of doesn't seem to work out, or it doesn't seem to make sense, you know. Portleven is well known for its drift net fishery for the pilchards. A lot of the boats were actually built here. Right where we're standing was a big boat building yard here, and most of the Portleven boats were built here in the village. So it employed, you know, even before the boats actually went to sea, there were men's livings being prepared or made here in the village, and then the boats were eventually fitted out for fishing for pilchards, mainly in the bay, and there used to be a big fleet here. And then as the pilchards declined, so the shellfish, the crabs and the lobsters became more prevalent. But as time's gone on, Portleven is a very exposed port. It's the most southern port in the UK.
That's right,
And during the 1800s it built up to when we came to the beginning of the 1900s, it was the biggest fleet anywhere here around the Cornish coast, and the boats used to fish all around the Cornish coast. But as the 1900s got to the 1950s and the fleet started to decline quite rapidly, and now here in this part of the world, Newlyn has taken over as the main fishing port.
And you're out from Newlyn a lot of the time?
Yeah, I'm a Portleven lad. I live here. I just live up by the harbour there, and our family have lived here around the harbour for far back as you want to go, and we love it here. Portleven is our home, but I do still operate. I come in here as often as I can, and I'm mainly based out of Newlyn, where everything is laid on for the fisherman to make his life as easy as possible, coming and going to sea, which helps. But you can't beat home. Portleven is home, and there's still quite a bit of fishing activity that takes place here during the year. If people come to Portleven to visit it, they're going to see fish coming up over the quay. They're going to be able to ask questions and have a bit of touchy-feely and see what they're like. And it's fantastic for people.
That's fantastic.
You don't have to have fish flown in from all around the world. You can actually find the very thing you're looking for, the freshest, tastiest thing you're looking for, right here on your doorstep.
Cornish megrim.
Cornish Megrim is one. There's another fantastic one which is in the markets at the moment. With the recession has caused fishermen here locally a lot of difficulty selling, and that is hake. And hake is the most beautiful fish.
Yeah.
The people, if they don't realise what they've got with hake. It's a white fish like a cod and a haddock, but its taste and texture is superb.
Is it quite a soft fish?
It's a soft fish, yeah. It's more texture-wise, I would say it's more like a mackerel.
Yeah.
But taste-wise, nothing like a mackerel. It's more like your cod and haddock.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's beautiful. Pop it in the pan for 3 or 4 minutes, crispy on the skin side.
I'm going to tell Mrs. Noxious about hake when I get back home.
You tell her.
Yeah.
You tell her.
So I wondered about the changes in Porthleven with there's a social housing development happening then, isn't there, from what I've heard? And
between 70 and 120 houses on a greenfield site just up behind us, actually.
Is that up towards Ty Rock, is it?
Ish, yeah.
That's from Brazil, top of Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
As you leave the village.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a cause for concern for
It is for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of people in the village that haven't got houses.
Yes.
And they want houses because there's an awful lot of holiday lets.
Yeah.
So obviously, so they want a house.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, all the roads that lead to the site are narrow.
You think it's going to be a bit congested up there?
I think it may cause problems in the future.
It's people, I think, who are on the list who have connections with Porthleven, isn't it?
Yes, there is. There's a lot of young couples, and they've got babies.
Yeah.
And obviously they want to stay in the village. I mean, even just Porthleven, it's like this all over the county. I mean, I go to Coverack nearly every day, and they have the same problem.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many holiday homes. It's not just holiday homes.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of them in the village.
Yeah. It's about 50% now, is it?
I wouldn't say it's 50%.
No, I wouldn't say 50.
Right. Okay.
But there's a lot.
Yeah.
It's got to be a lot.
30,
all
maybe
around the
30%.
front.
Yeah.
30%.
All around the front, all around the harbour.
How does that change things, do you think, when you've got so many holiday homes?
There's people here all year round.
Yeah.
All year round. You come down Christmas, New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
There's people from outside the village that they've come down here to get away from it, to get away from the rat race. Which I can't blame them, to be honest.
No, true. Yeah.
You know, because it is a bit of a dive when you get across the Tamar.
That's the quote of the week.
It has changed. I mean, once the supermarkets became in local towns, the businesses have gradually died out.
Yeah, because there were 3 butchers at one time in Porthleven, weren't there? Yeah.
There was, and we all had a good living.
Yeah.
We're quite lucky, we got a good supermarket.
Yeah.
When you think that only a couple of miles away there's 3 huge superstores.
Yes.
So we're very lucky. I
We
mean,
know the guilty parties.
we definitely do, yeah. But they offer good value for money. Not on everything, but on a good bulk of things, which is always handy because we've also got a lot of retired people that perhaps don't drive.
Yeah.
You know, and the buses, we've got good buses, they're quite regular, but...
It's open late as well, isn't it?
And it's open quite late, so there's always a chance when the pubs are closed, but...
We've got a good surgery, a good chemist, and a good post office.
Yes.
So
That's
when
great that
you're-
the post office survived,
When
wasn't
you're
it?
retired
Gosh.
pensioner, what more do you want?
Well, a few good pubs, I guess. Because I've heard tell say, and I'm not sure if it's true, that Porthleven is a quaint drinking village with a fishing problem.
That's exactly right.
There ain't no fish left. But
Thank you for watching this week's Cornwall Channel. We would love to hear from you, your thoughts and ideas for future Cornish programmes. This dedicated weekly channel for Cornwall on Sky and Freesat aims to deliver information and local programmes. If you have any news you think we should cover, then please get in touch using our website at cornwallchannel.co.uk or via our Facebook and Twitter pages. See you next week.